You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unlimited, episode 137. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week are...
Steve and Mike.
Straight out of Toronto, Mike the Birdman Dog. What's up?
I thought he was going to say out of Compton.
You know, I heard somebody call Canada America Light again the other day.
America Junior.
We have less racism and a less profitable dollar? I don't know.
Oh, God. Can you imagine if Trump was the Prime Minister of Canada?
Hey, I do have to say this. At least every week with politicians, if he were president, I'm not saying I'm like endorsing any of these people because I think they're all
Pretty stupid.
Incompetent and liars. The only one that's not a liar, I think, is Trump because he just doesn't care. I'm not saying, again, I don't endorse him. I don't endorse any of them. I think they're all losers. But it's going to be entertaining because he's going to get mad at politicians and say, "You're fired, get out." And
speaking of your politics, you're just like 2 seconds.
Well, I want to talk about the Ted Cruz debacle for a second, real quick.
Oh my God.
where he's resigning and then he gives his wife a hug and then turns around to give his father-in-law or father a hug and he punches his wife in the mouth and then he elbows her in the face.
Oh.
While reaching in for a hug.
There was one video clip of Ted Cruz. I think he was trying to grab his wife's hand or something.
No, he was trying to grab the hand of his potential VP.
Yeah.
His potential VP, and then they're just like mashing fingers together in
so
what looks
weird.
like an awkward avatar version of hand sex or something.
It was
But
so freaking strange. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
well, and it gets better because there was another one where his VP candidate was walking on stage to introduce him, and she fell off the stage, and he kept just talking.
Just keep going, man.
And Kasich, resigned too, and then of course it's like Trump against Bernie and Hillary, who, don't get me wrong, I would be for, and I'm not trying to get all political, but I would be all for a woman president, except not her.
Yeah, because she sucks. And
well, she's got too much baggage and too many lies.
oh yeah. Like, see,
And
I am Canadian, clearly. I would love to elect Bernie Sanders. My God, I've looked into this guy's campaign. The
unfortunate part is he doesn't, he promises a good game, but there's not any money to back any of it.
Well, there ain't no money to back fucking Trump shit either, so.
Well, difference is he's paying for his entire thing out of his pocket, campaign-wise. Bernie's funding from the public.
Yeah.
And Hillary's she's been bagging off the government for decades.
Oh, yeah.
So.
See, that's the thing. It's like, I always make I more so make jokes than actually give political opinions. But it's like, if Hillary gets in, she essentially will have been running the country for the last 20 some odd years because she was, and the thing with...
she's been involved for the last 20 some odd years,
yeah. Every time the whole "I want a woman, just not her" comes up, the first thing I think of, and I don't know why it is, but it's, what's her name, Allison Taylor, who played the female president on 24. I'm like, she would be a better choice than Hillary Clinton.
So would the
Allstate guy.
David Palmer. Yeah, we need
Palmer, no problem. That'd be awesome. Actually, a friend of mine posted this thing on Facebook today, and he was like, anybody but Trump, and it posts all these like random fictional characters. Two that stuck out in my mind was Elmo and Optimus Prime.
Well, what's funny is Marvel actually has Skeletor as the president, so
well, he's got to be a Republican, I'm just saying. But yeah, like, man, I can't believe, like, one of the things I saw today, I do not know this for a fact, so supposedly the Bushes aren't even endorsing Trump as the Republican nominee. I'm thinking, man, you're going to piss someone off when the stupidest motherfucker on the planet won't back you. But, yeah, let's get out of this politic hole before we dig ourselves into hate mail world.
Hate mail.
Actually, speaking of mail, we had such a good conversation on the Facebook this week.
Wait.
week's
No.
conversation.
They dropped the. It was Sean's idea.
But like, there was so much good back and forth between people talking about Patreons and GoFundMe's.
Oh, you're talking about on the post?
Yeah, that was a lot of good conversation. So thank you to everybody who came out and had their say. That's very appreciated. That's a good sense of community right there. I love that.
And it's a lot of nice back and forth, good reasons and bad reasons. So
Exactly.
it's yeah, I totally get what everybody was getting with the Patreon and like the GoFundMe's and everything like that. So yeah, definitely thanks guys for the input. That was very welcome. So moving on.
Well, fans of Altered Geek, the onslaught of big summer blockbusters makes May the perfect time to celebrate some of pop culture's unstoppable, unrelenting, and unbeatable characters and objects. We've got something for you to carry, something for your kitchen, and a cool figure to go with our monthly tea and pin. Featuring 2 Marvel items, plus Warcraft and Dragon Ball Z. No one crate could have all this power. Yes, the month of May is the theme of power. And in that description there, we have, of course, Warcraft, Marvel, Dragon Ball Z, the Avengers. Oh yeah, that's definitely speaks power there. So for less than $20 a month, you can get 6 to 8 items and include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique, one-of-a-kind items, and more. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive this month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over, folks. So make sure to head over to www.lootcrate.com/GCRN and enter the promo code TBV to save $3 on any new subscription. So, with that,
We're going to get to the AGNN right after this break here.
You're listening to the Altered Geek News Network.
And we're back with the AGNN. So starting off this interesting debacle we have this week of content.
I have something that'll blow your friggin' minds, man.
I guess we'll go with that.
Do you know what Taco Cat is spelled backwards?
No.
Taco Cat. And now moving on with your regularly scheduled programming.
So it's like...
The palindrome, I think that's the word. I think, right?
Yeah, but it's like...
I feel like I've just been told something in the Billy Madison universe.
No, it's not even that. No.
I've
got one even better. It's like G.I. Joe. It's Tomax and Zaymot.
Yeah, see? Taco Cat shit.
And knowing is half the battle.
But which one's which?
Blue lasers.
So, I don't even know where the hell I think we'll go with Power Rangers.
Yes.
The new Tony Stark Iron Man color selection models, I mean the Power Ranger suits.
The Iron Rangers, yeah.
I think these
Yes,
are
the Iron.
sick.
See,
The red one looks like a cross between Iron Man and Lord Zed.
See, I had to... I'm a fan of the Steve Cardenas fan page. Steve was Rocky in the original Power Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
He posted, he said, what's old is new. Still stoked for the 2017 version. And he basically put a picture up of the original 1995 cast on top of the new picture that was released. And if you look at this, it really, other than the new ones being a little bit more metallic and a little bit more Iron Man-ish, there's really not that much of a difference. The only one that's missing is Tommy as either the White or the Green Ranger.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I mean, these very much hail back to the 95 movie, which I loved those designs.
Mm.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, looking at these things, yeah, they do definitely take their shtick from Iron Man / like maybe the Arkham Knight from like Batman. They don't look bad.
Mm-mm.
I mean, they look kind of cool. I mean, I look at it this way. These look like they're actually going to stop a bullet as opposed to like, a ski suit. So I'm totally cool with this. These things look cool.
Yeah.
I want one of the helmets so bad.
I only want it if there's a White Ranger.
Yeah.
I bet you if there's a White Ranger in this movie, that's your post-credit scene right there.
Yeah.
which would be pretty sick, actually.
Yeah.
Or green, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm digging it. I think because they're all okay. If you look at the top picture, and we all know this because it's 20 some odd years later, the original MMPR suits, whether they're the TV show suits or the movie suits, they're all very, very uniform as far as the color and the way that the stripes are and the symbols on them and everything else, specifically to the black, pink, red, yellow, and blue. With the new suits, they all have something different to them. Like if you look at the blue suit on the far right, that has almost like a vibranium emblem when Tony did the vibranium. And then you look at the yellow suit and it's completely different. So I like it. I think it's going to be really cool. I'm still not sold on Rita. That's the only thing for me with the movie. Like, I mean, I'm going to wait, obviously, to reserve full-on judgment until the trailer comes. But so far, at least with the Rangers, the suits look badass.
Yeah, I think it'll be kind of cool. I'm actually hoping somebody at San Diego Comic-Con this year will have a bunch to walk around with. So, I don't know. I mean, the only one that isn't totally selling me is the Blue Ranger suit, and it's just the helmet. There's something about it that looks just a little off to me, but that could be lighting. I think the arc reactors in the chest look a little off, but once again, that could be lighting, that could be a pre-special effect, so who knows. But yeah, overall, these things are pretty sick looking, so I'm totally getting... Man, I can't wait to see the toys for this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really care much about the toys. Obviously this is a production shot, so it's not going to look as good as, obviously, the film. The funny thing is they took a lot of cues from that 95 movie.
Which is good. Which is good.
It's a very good idea.
Because they were good.
Yeah. It just sucks. Those suits in the movie lasted, 20 minutes? And then they got, here, have a ninja outfit. Like, God damn it, I want the cool helmets.
No,
well, they got them back at the end.
Yeah, they came back at the end because they lose the power. They have the new suits. They have the updated versions of the suits in the beginning until they lose the power, and then when they get the power back,
or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, when they get the power back and they get because the only thing they changed was the emblems. They had to change the gold power coins to the new spirit animals from the old dinosaurs.
So. I don't remember that, but I also haven't seen this movie in easily 5-6 years. So.
Blanchard and I watched it sooner than that, I think.
Yeah, I've done 2 different podcasts on that movie in the last 7 years. So, yeah.
But yeah, I like the new suits. I mean, yeah, I get where everybody's saying they look like Iron Man suits, but is that really a bad thing?
No. Especially in this post-Iron Man world now.
Yeah, I mean, we have Robo Batman, we have...
Well, that's... no. It
was designed 30 years ago, though.
I would have rather...
I'm having fun with it.
Yeah. I would have rather have had the Jim Gordon Batman than the actual Robo Batman we got.
No, that was very good with the comics. But anyways, no, I'm happy with everything this Power Ranger movie is doing.
Yep.
Speaking of Batman, The Killing Joke.
Oh, yeah.
It will be available to purchase on Blu-ray and DVD on August 2nd. And it will be on digital HD on July 23rd.
Oh, cool. Oh, you know why it's going to be available digital HD on July 23rd, right?
Comic-Con.
Yeah, that.
Well, that and that's Batman Day for most of the time, usually for DC.
Well, the nice part is the deluxe Blu-ray edition of the film will include the following extras. 1 episode each from the new Batman Adventures and Batman the Animated Series. Madness set to music, a documentary focusing on the film's storyboards. Many Shades of the Joker, The Telling of the Killing Joke, a short that explains the making of the graphic novel. A limited edition Joker figure.
Ooh. Are there shots of this Joker figure yet?
No. I know.
Because I've got the Wonder Woman one from whatever the Gods and Monsters one was called, or whatever the fuck.
Justice League.
I got the Damian Wayne from the Justice League versus Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's gonna be awesome when that comes out. I can't wait for it, especially having Hamill be in a DC animated universe film that isn't the DC animated universe.
Well, it's the one, he said after Arkham City that he was going to retire. And he said the only thing that he would ever come back for would be the Killing Joke. And it's finally happened.
And he came back in Arkham Knight.
Well, yeah. Okay, yeah, but I'm saying, like, when he initially said that he was done doing the Joker voice as a full-time...
It was after Arkham City.
Is there any other story that he should do? I mean, like, what's the next great Batman Joker story? If you had to do one more. Because my DC knowledge is relatively lacking, but I can't think of anything. I mean, all the big ones have been hit now. Someone's yelling at their monitor right now, but
the only one that I can think of that I would like for him to come back to do if they ever adapted it, because I'm hoping that he would give it more of a climax than the actual comic storyline.
You're talking about Death of the Family.
Stop. You just had to take it away from me, didn't you?
Maybe a Serious House on Serious Earth, maybe.
Yeah.
I think they should do Nightfall.
Yeah, that'd be pretty kick-ass, actually. Do that as, like, a two-parter, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like...
Because that would be awesome.
The other thing with Killing Joke is that it is the first DC Universe original animated movie that has an R rating. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, they pulled a Deadpool. Not necessarily.
That was always rated R. It was always graphic.
Yeah.
The comic.
You know what hasn't been adapted yet, and it just kind of surprises me? I just thought of this right now. Why has Kingdom Come not been done?
Who knows?
That would be amazing, especially if you could get that Alex Ross look to everything. Fuck, hook me up. That'd be pretty... Oh, man, just... Then again, I've also wondered, why is there no Blackest Night yet? And make that like a 2 or 3 part thing. Because you'd have to do it in that many parts to explain everything.
Yeah.
Unless you chop the shit out of it. But still, just saying.
Yeah.
Could be interesting, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only time will tell, I guess.
I think this will be very successful for them, considering how much they're not doing so hot this year. But I guess we'll see what happens when, like, Suicide Squad comes out in August.
Yeah.
Does it come out in August?
Yep, August 2nd, I want to say, or 8th or something.
Okay, I knew it was like towards the end of July.
Which, evidently, I read this, I'm pretty sure it was on comingsoon.net or something, that Deadpool has beat Batman v Superman in the North American box office.
That does not surprise me at all.
I'm actually kind of surprised by that, because I thought Batman v Superman would have done better than that, but I remember hearing from multiple people that movie had to do over $1 billion to even break even. I think it's doing just under or just a little over 900 million, which is obviously nothing to, say, ha ha ha, you suck. But actually, surprisingly, this past week, and I was actually genuinely surprised by this, there was a quote that Zack Snyder released a little while ago. And to paraphrase it, I'm just going to say he wants Batman to be prison raped. I'm not even kidding when I say that.
I'm so done with Hack Snyder.
Yeah, well, it was funny because this debate stirred up such a vitriol on my Facebook, which we often call the dumpster fire anyway.
Well, did you see that it caused the Flash and I think Cyborg and some of the other directors to just jump ship?
Yeah.
Or try to?
Like, that's crazy to think that many people are worried, but now, isn't Justice League shooting, like, right now?
Yeah.
Like, you can't change it now. Like, they're literally strapped to the rocket now. Whether it explodes when it chases after the coyote is yet to be seen, but...
I think they're going to have, like, Jeff Johns and Ben Affleck play damage control.
I'm kind of thinking someone should just randomly just kidnap Zack Snyder and say, well, what happened? I don't know. He went to Morocco. What happened? I don't know. Just have those guys take over. And I hear Affleck completely has control over the Batman solo film, which is great because he did great.
Yeah.
Well, and he's an academy. He's won awards for his writing and directing.
Yeah.
So
unlike Schneider, who out of his 13 movies, I would argue has made 3 or 4 good ones. I would say the remake of Dawn of the Dead was interesting. I like it personally. 300 is entertaining for what it is, and Watchmen. When he tried to do his own original thing with like Sucker Punch, it looks cool. Let's not quibble about that. But try and make sense of that.
it doesn't make any sense.
And that's the thing. Zack Snyder is a great visual storyteller. He really is. His shit looks cool. But god damn, don't hand this guy anything original or ask him to adapt it. I mean, Watchmen, I think he did the best job he possibly... I'd argue that's the best movie of his career.
Now, I wonder how much of it was bad writing.
That's true, but the director...
I'm not saying that he couldn't rewrite it, but it still falls on the writer.
Yeah.
Because the director is not the sole interpreter of that script.
Unless you're doing a Michael Bay production.
But he also holds final say he can say, I don't like that, change it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I mean, it's... Like, who wrote it? Was that Goyer and all them?
Could have been. And it could have been too much studio input, too.
Yeah, it's such a shame that DC tried so hard to catch up to Marvel, and it's ultimately backfiring, because ultimately Batman v Superman, and we should probably move past this, this should have been the most successful movie of the year, outside of Star Wars, because it's the 2 most iconic superheroes of all time.
Well, and they've never crossed over in film.
This should have been a moment in cinema. This really should have been a moment that all of us could remember. I'm having a hard time even finding a theater playing this movie right now. The Avengers, for example, was in theaters for months upon months at a time.
Yeah. Kind of like Star Wars.
Yeah. And this one just, it was there. It was a thing.
And Deadpool.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of a shame.
Speaking of other comic book movies, we have Avengers Infinity War getting a rename.
That's not a bad idea.
Instead of Part 1 and Part 2, but they're not saying what it's going to be called yet.
Well, what the articles that I've read, it said it was that the Russo brothers have said that they are 2 separate plot films. They're not, it's not one giant thing. So that's one of the reasons why it's getting a title change. People have speculated, you could call it Infinity Gauntlet, Infinity War, or something like that for 1 and 2, or whatever you want to call it. We're so, and I say this every week. I say this all the time on this show and other podcasts I do. 2018, 2019, we're so far away from that. I mean, okay, it's getting a title change. Great. So right now, probably the reason why you're not seeing the BS that is BVS in theaters anymore, Mike, is because Civil War is kicking ass.
Oh yeah, like I've seen it twice so far. It's wow.
Yeah.
Legitimately wow. Holy shit. I think it'll probably outperform X-Men as well when that comes out later on.
Yeah, pretty much. I think the only thing that's probably going to give Civil War not necessarily an emotional tone, a run for its money, but the only thing as far as box office that might give it a run for its money is Suicide Squad. Because I am sorry, X-Men just looks crappy.
Really? I
just,
think it looks kind of cool. I'm not sure whether I agree with the storyline with it, but because Psylocke's not a bad guy to me, but then again, they'll explain that in the movie anyway.
I just can't. I'm sorry. I know this is bad of me to think like this, but Munn will always be a G4 booth babe.
When I saw her boobs in Magic Mike, I was like, damn, I'm so sold.
That's that is about as best as she can act.
I don't know, man. She was pretty decent in that, too. I mean, she was offered a part in Deadpool. She turned it down because she wanted to do more action stuff with X-Men, so I don't fault her for that. I think this actually may be a legit role for her, and I kind of hope they don't kill off the character so they can keep kind of using her. Hell, I'd love to see a Psylocke solo movie. Because if anything, I'd like to wash the bullshit taste of the Elektra movie and Catwoman out of the female comic book movie thing. And let's not even talk about fucking Supergirl from 1984.
Hey. That was a product of its time, just like Superman 3 and 4 were, so just shut your mouth.
Okay, fair enough, but a Psylocke ninja movie could be amazing, but only if the writer gets the character right. And I know Psylocke doesn't say a whole hell of a lot, but, you know, if Munn can pull it off, I'd be all well for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, maybe she'll show up in the New Mutants, which I think is getting written right now, so... Which they're talking about some casting about that right now. I know one of the girls from Game of Thrones is being talked about for Wolfsbane. I think Maisie Williams, the girl that plays Arya Stark. And there's another woman who is being talked as, who plays Colossus' sister, Magic. But I can't remember the name of the actress. But New Mutants looks like it's going to be kind of cool too, and it'll be in continuity with the Marvel or with the rest of the X-Men stuff.
Mm-hmm. What else you got over there, Steve?
Well, I have, speaking of superheroes still, before we move off that, Supergirl Season 2 budget cuts could send the series to the CW because CBS said that it costs about $3 million an episode to shoot.
Jesus.
Which is the most amount of money that they've spent on a brand new debut show.
It should have been on the CW in the first place anyway.
CW didn't want it because they already have Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow, and The Flash, and iZombie, which are all comic properties from DC. And it says that the $3 million per episode licensing fee CBS pays to broadcast Supergirl is the sticking point for the network. Considering the ratings dropped throughout the show's freshman season, it says that being that Warner Brothers and CBS, who have this deal in place anyway, both own CW, they may force to push it to CW.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be the first time this has happened, because back when UPN, which was owned by, I believe, Fox in CW, or WB, they, when it went belly up and they created the CW, they moved like Supernatural from UPN over to CW.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't be the first time something like this has happened. And it happened after the first season of that show, too.
I just don't think that...
The nice part, though, is if CW got it, they could take more freedoms with crossing over the universes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you could actually see Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow characters all cross over amongst each other.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome.
I just whether they're going to actually do that. I mean, even if they, like, let's say it does move over to the CW, but it didn't go to series, you can just move that character into Legends of Tomorrow or right into Flash or something and have the character just exist, even if they don't get a full show. Or, hey, let's take that let's give them $5 million here, make a TV movie, we'll do 2 a year. Do one in the fall, do one in the spring.
Yeah.
So, if it doesn't go to series, at least it's there. Because, for example, the CW also has Constantine now. But they can't use the character because Matt Ryan's busy, I think. And I think there's some licensing issue there as well.
I don't think it was a licensing issue. I think it was because they got him before.
Yeah, because he was on Arrow already, and they just referenced him in this...
And they just referenced him this week, so...
Yeah.
They did bring in Zatanna, though.
No, that wasn't Zatanna, was it?
Pretty sure it was.
I thought she had a different name. I could be wrong, though.
Anyways. So, it would be nice to see the character join up on the CW. So, moving on, we have some video game stuff, which will probably play right into Dodd. Anyway.
I actually got asked to do a piece on this on morning radio in Hamilton, but I couldn't this morning due to another appointment. So now I can actually talk about it.
What are your thoughts of the new Call of Duty Infinite Warfare?
You know what? A lot of people are saying it looks a lot like a game from 2010. and it has kind of like a like kind of Halo vibe to it. I don't disagree with it, but I don't think it looks terrible because it seems more rooted in quote unquote reality. And what I mean by that is, it seems more like Starship Troopers and Battlestar Galactica in terms of how they're approaching their like kind of military campaign stuff. I think it looks kind of cool because I was playing Black Ops 3 last weekend, and that's where they were hiding the Easter egg trailer was in the Nuketown map. You had to solve this really complex puzzle to figure it out. And I don't know, I'm excited for Infinite Warfare, though I can tell you that's not what's going to move copies later on this year. When the game comes out, it's retailing for $79.99 in Canada. If you pay $109.99, you get Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered, which will not be made available for sale outside of the Legacy Edition of the game, and it features a completely remastered COD 4 with 10 multiplayer maps and the campaign. That's what's going to sell copies this year because they're going to include dedicated servers as well. So the COD faithful that have been playing since 2008 are going to get their game back. The true boots on the ground, no advanced movements, no strange weapons, no really weird perks or whatever. Yeah, you're going to get your martyrdom. You're going to get no flak jacket and insane amounts of radar streaks.
No hot coffee, huh?
No hot coffee. You're basically going to get a game that is the first true Call of Duty for the modern era, because it's the one that brought us into the modern era of fighting. And I watch a lot of Call of Duty YouTubers, and it's really dividing the community right now because a lot of people are really excited for it, but they're like, this should be made to people to buy if they want to, or people that's going to buy Infinite Warfare and ditch it, and then even when the trailer dropped, Battlefield 5 developers started throwing shade at it, which
I think is funny.
Yeah, which I think it's kind of funny, but then they had to backpedal and say, yeah, well, I'm still going to buy it, and the one guy actually had to go full on apology for it, and he actually deleted some of his tweets, but it's the internet, nothing's ever gone. And I think the reveal trailer for Battlefield comes out tomorrow.
Yes, 16 hours as of right now, which is 11 o'clock at night. So
yeah, because you're not counting.
The funny thing is I was playing Battlefield before we recorded. I'll be playing it after we record.
I'll be playing COD. But yeah, like I'm looking forward to this. I think Infinite Warfare has a chance to build upon what Black Ops 3 did right, and to advance the future setting that advanced that Advanced Warfare made popular. So it'll be interesting to see. And I found this really funny. A friend of mine pointed this out to me. You know, it's sad when Call of Duty has space battles before Star Wars Battlefront. That's kind of
well. I don't know if you watch this YouTuber called Stone Mountain 64.
I do not.
Guy's hilarious, but he does like these YOLOs, which is he pretends like he's actually the character he's playing in the game,
mm-hmm.
much to the irritation of the other people playing in his squads. But he also does these best moments of the week kind of thing of clips sent to him, and he had this weekend his Battlefield, or he does Battlefield on it too, but he does Battlefront. They had clips of glitches in Battlefront. For instance, AT-AT walkers would just mysteriously disappear while in game, and ATSTs would fly through the air like a X-wing.
Mm-hmm.
And just various stupid things like that. So and the game just looks cheap to me. Battlefront does. I can't deny that Call of Duty looks good and Battlefield looks good. I'm waiting to see actual footage of the two games instead of just these video motion.
Which that's another thing that I kind of forgot. This is the first year that Call of Duty will not be available on the older generation consoles. I imagine the same thing will happen for Battlefield as well. So now, since the Xbox 360 was discontinued just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think, I don't know, maybe you'll get a PS3 port of Battlefield 5, but I don't know. That's another thing that's to be considered, kind of splitting up the kind of player base. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out in 16 hours or so.
Yep, I'll be getting it on my PC, so can't wait. So continuing in the video game realm, we have Sonic and Legend of Zelda being inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame.
Good choices. Good choices. Both of them have had their impact upon the video game industry since their inception. One being 1987, one being I think 1991, and Blast Processing. Both have had fantastic titles, world-changing titles in their respective franchises, and some have had some utter crap. I'm looking at you, Sonic 2006, and I'm trying to think, what's a really bad Zelda game that I really didn't like? I wasn't big on Spirit. Actually, I love 2. 2 is my favorite Zelda. Just because it was different. Although the Wind Waker's starting to grow on me because I love the like art style to it. That's a game that's only become appreciated really in its modern time now. Thanks to the HD remaster that came out on the Wii U last year. Although Twilight Princess, I don't know. It looks pretty. But anyway. Speaking of Zelda, that's another thing to kind of talk about too, with it being inducted into the Hall of Fame. That's kind of timely considering Nintendo just delayed the Wii U's version of the new Zelda, and it's being pushed as a launch title for the NX next year. Which that's what Nintendo's going to dedicate their entire E3 to this year is Zelda. Which
isn't that what they dedicated last year's E3 to was Zelda? Because doesn't last year that trailer came out?
It wasn't dedicated entirely towards it because I know because they had the Nintendo World Championships held like the day before. We got to see the new Metroid, which I think is one of the few things coming out this year. There isn't actually a whole lot happening with Nintendo between now and the end of the year, which is really unfortunate because I think the Wii U kind of got hosed. Like, I look at my Wii U collection right now, I've got less than 15 games for it. And that's a console that's been out for 4 years. Hard to believe it's been that long, but anything Nintendo makes first party is almost always a home run. Outside of Star Fox, which is complete dog shit. Oh my god, it's so bad. But to swing things back around to the Video Game Hall of Fame, I think these are great inductees. I'm kind of hoping. I'm trying to think who I'd want to see go in the next couple of years.
Well, they did add other games along with Sonic and Legends of Zelda. They have Space Invaders, The Sims, Grand Theft Auto 3, and the Oregon Trail, which beat out nominees such as Minecraft, Street Fighter 2, and the original Pokemon games. But it will be joining Pong, Doom, and Super Mario Brothers and World of Warcraft.
Not bad choices. Oregon Trail, I might have almost... I was going to say, I almost might have replaced it with Minecraft, only because of the ridiculously huge impact it's had, but everybody knows Oregon Trail because you've died of dysentery. But yeah, I mean, those are all very, very solid picks. Grand Theft Auto 3 is a great one. That's pretty much reinvented the open world game and the countless clones we've had since. Although, I would imagine probably in 10 years you'll see Grand Theft Auto 5 go in. And probably Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Because I think that game deserves to go in based upon its story and its soundtrack alone. But I'm not in charge. But I will be.
You wish.
Someday, man. Someday. I'm open.
So, there's a rumor floating around that Nintendo is going to abandon discs and use ROM cartridges for the NX.
Now, for those that aren't familiar with this technology, what is that? Like carts, basically?
Cartridges.
So basically, here's...
they're going to take a step back.
So they're going to use basically SD cards, more or less.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with that. Because good luck scratching that. But at the same time, hey, look, magnets! So, I don't know. I mean, it's about time because everything's moving towards digital anyway. In fact, I'm really surprised there aren't more just digital-only systems.
You know, honestly, I would prefer that they just It just gave you a giant hard drive and just let you download all your programs to it. Of course, that would do away with the model of going to the store.
Although companies do that, though, because I know last year there were some games you'd go buy the collector's edition. You'd buy the game, right? You'd get it. There'd only be like 103 kilobytes on the disc, just so you could download the like installer from the web anyway. I'm like, what's the fucking point? You're wasting plastic at this point. Like, yeah, I like digital only. I really do. I'm actually a big proponent for it. However, though, if that game ever runs into issues, you could lose that game forever. Excuse me. For example, on the Xbox 360, there's a title called Afterburner Climax, which was made by Sega. You can't get that anymore because the license has expired. That's the problem with digital only, because you're technically paying to license it. You don't own it. Whereas if you buy a cartridge or a CD, you can pop that fucker in and play it anytime you want. But if you only go digital, you're severely limited. And even from the developer side of it too, from say the console makers, if they want to lock you out of that game, they can do that. So I like the idea. I'd like to see them work on it a little bit more, but maybe if that means getting bigger games, who's to say? Because a Blu-ray holds like 50 gigs. What's the largest SD card right now?
Oh, geez.
Maybe 100, maybe?
SD card?
Yeah.
No, you can get like a 512.
520 gigs?
Pretty sure.
Holy shit. Okay, well, in that case, fucking A. Yeah, I mean, if it means more content in a bigger game and a better game on the disc or on the ROM card, I'm okay with that. But you do bring up an interesting point. What's it going to do to the retail sales? Like going down the brick and mortar. So, I don't know. That's fascinating. I'd be very curious to see what they're going to do with this. Although, here's a question for the panel here. Should Nintendo just license their IPs to other companies and just be done making consoles, stick with handhelds?
I think that would be the way to go, because honestly, I can't see anybody spending money on their console, and at this point, they're losing money hand over fist to the Xbox and the PlayStation.
Yeah, because I love my Wii U. I haven't turned it on in weeks to months.
Well, it's like my Wii. I still have a Wii. I barely play it, and if I want to play Smash Brothers, it's the only time I turn it on. I
just dug my Wii out of the closet actually about a week ago. I was like, what the hell is this thing? Oh, yeah! Yeah, the last time I played it was when I played Twilight Princess back in March. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see Nintendo titles on other consoles. I mean, maybe make your big first-party stuff exclusive to the handhelds, because people will always buy Mario, always buy Zelda, Pokemon stuff. But if you could put an awesome Star Fox game on, say, an Xbox or a PlayStation, my God, do you know how many copies of Pokemon you would sell if you could license that to a PlayStation or Xbox and have real-time battles over PSN or Xbox Live? I mean, hell, your console, like you're never going to get rid of the handheld, because people like the idea of bringing this stuff to conventions or playing with their friends on the schoolyard, or even just kind of fucking around. But to have that experience at home, I've always wondered why they've never done that. I mean, the closest we've ever gotten would be Pokemon Stadium, and most recently we got a really weird hybrid of Pokemon and Tekken. Like, it was called like Pokken or something like that. It came out like back in March. I've never understood why Nintendo has never just fully embraced doing this, but I guess there's a rhyme and a reason behind it.
What I don't understand is why they haven't just, taken a bite out of the apple and put all their stuff on mobile? The iDevices.
Well, they did just launch Miitomo back at the end of April, I want to say. And it's been fairly successful. There's going to be one for Animal Crossing later on this year. I think there's some kind of a Pokemon app coming at some point. But yeah, I'm glad Nintendo's moving into mobile, but I don't see what they're going to do, because Miitomo, for example, it's a discount. It's like a discount version of Facebook meets like, I don't know, like Tumblr, I guess. It basically, you have options to dress up your like avatar. People can come visit you. There are these games where you can win prizes, and if you get so many prizes, you can like trade them in for stuff. But it's an app that just asks you kind of stupid questions. I fill out as many dumb questions as I can. Though you level out at max at level 20, I did that in the first week of having the game. You have a limit of like 1,000 friends. So unless Nintendo innovates what they're going to do mobily, like if they ever get around to launching Pokemon Go, which they've talked about for like a year or two now, that will be amazingly successful because it literally uses geolocation technology or whatever. So you can go wander down the street. You can go catch yourself a freaking Charizard. You go down to your neighbor's house, there might be a Pikachu in the backyard. You can catch it using your like iPhone. If that launches, damn, take my money now. I will actually go the fuck outside. Because I think that's amazingly cool. But their bread and butter is always going to be the 3DS or whatever the next incarnation of that's going to be. Because now Nintendo has to start considering virtual reality because there's the Oculus Rift now, Project Morpheus for PlayStation, which launches later on this year.
Oh god, Nintendo's gonna launch the Virtual Girl.
They actually see the thing is the technology behind the Virtual Boy was really ahead of its time, but it was rushed. If Nintendo could make virtual reality work, it would be great, but I don't think people are ever going to quite forget the Virtual Boy. And I don't think it would go over well. I mean, like, even younger kids that have never heard of the Virtual Boy, I think on some weird nerd level, we all know about it. And we wouldn't trust it. Like, there's that, once bitten, twice shy sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I'd like to see Nintendo do more. But Nintendo should focus on making games as opposed to experiences. And I know that sounds contradictory to what Nintendo's kind of mission statement is, but a great example of this is Star Fox. The game itself is mediocre. It would be cool if it weren't for the fucking motion controls. And what I mean by that is, on your TV is the R-Wing, or the Landmaster, whatever the hell it is. On your Wii U pad, that's your cockpit view. That's your head thing. So you literally have to tilt the controller around to look around and shoot shit. Now, try and do both of those at once. It's incredibly frustrating. You can turn it off, but you have to sit a very specific way to make it even feel remotely natural. And that's the problem what happened with the later Wii titles, too. You saw a lot of them stop using Wii Waggle. The last big title that had it was Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I gave up 3/4 of the way through that game because, fuck, man, my arm's getting tired. I'm done here. Give me a controller, let me play. There were so many great Wii games that would be fixed if you just handed me a GameCube controller or something. So, I don't know. It's definitely a conversation Nintendo is going to have at some point. Man, sorry, I just got up on my soapbox and just kind of went.
Speaking of soapbox,
Top 50.
I guess I should bring up my little comment.
Okay.
Is this the bear poking thing?
Yeah, this is the bear poking, and I'm doing it intentionally because I want to see what responses are. That being said, I'm not doing it to be a total dick or insensitive or anything, but do you think fans try to put too much weight on creators to bend to their wants and needs for TV and film? And when I say this, I mean when they want things to change different than its original inception, or wanted to input things that aren't there or vague that could be interpreted anyway, but they want a definite, it's got to be there.
Mm-hmm.
For example,
the Star Wars and wanting the
gay character?
Yes.
I don't...
And I'm not saying I have a problem with that, but I'm saying, what does it matter what their orientation is?
If it serves a story reason, I'm okay with it. But if it's just there for the sake of being there, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah, and that's kind of my soapbox with that. It's not even just having the gay character. It's when people And we're guilty of it too, as far as like the attacking, like for instance the Power Rangers. Mike Kate doesn't quite care for the new Rita Repulsa, or
yeah, but that's not necessarily like she's female. She looks. It's more so the outfit. It's more so what she's wearing and how she looks. It's not.
But again, it still goes into the same thought process of we don't agree with it, so therefore it's wrong.
And you can even trace this. I mean, like you can even kind of trace this back to, let's say, use another poking the bear example. Look at the Ghostbusters trailer and look at the reaction that the new Ghostbusters movie has got.
Most hated video on YouTube.
Amazing. Which I've actually seen a really cool article come out of the Hollywood Reporter about this, saying, "Are those dislikes actually genuine?"
I don't think YouTube would inflate dislikes.
Well,
no.
The thing with that trailer, though, is people are forgetting that franchise is dead. And this is really the only way to revive it.
Yeah. Because the last time the Ghostbusters franchise had life in it was 2010 Sanctuary of Slime, which was an Xbox Live downloadable title. And that's not including the new pinball machine that came out like a month ago, I think, or whatever. But still, yeah, the franchise has more or less been dead. But yeah, Steve, I completely agree with it. I mean, if it serves a purpose, cool. But if it's like, I'm in Star Wars, I'm a gay black lesbian because, okay, cool. Are you going to go help Luke and Leia? Yeah? You gay? Yeah? Does that help you fight stormtroopers? No? Then why do I care?
Yeah. Well, wasn't it because of the fan base? Because everybody ships.
It is not even the fan base. It's this organization that sticks their face in everything.
Okay, but let me finish my question. Wasn't it because of after everybody in the world saw The Farce Awakens that they're like, oh my god, Poe and what's his name? Oh my god, and everybody's shipping these characters together, and they're like, oh my god, Poe Dameron needs to be gay, and it's like, seriously, really?
I'd be okay with that, actually. If Poe and Finn turned out to be gay, that would be kind of a cool bromance. Because you've never seen that before in Star Wars. And let's say Poe Dameron dies or something. That would really
came back to life.
Fit. I could actually legit see that. But once again, does it make sense? I mean, like I said, if you have the characters be gay, fine. Let's say Finn dies or Poe dies, it's going to affect the other. Mm-hmm. This way, Rey can have her journey be hers without worrying about a romantic entanglement, which I think would be a very big strength to the franchise, to not have a character hook up. Like, when you think about it, Han Solo and Leia, okay, that's fine. That served a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Having Poe and Finn, that could be the new romantic couple. I mean, it's 2016, gays are cool, who cares? I don't know. I'd be okay with it, but if they're just doing it for the sake of inclusion, for the sake of
maybe,
yeah.
Well, it's like that same organization's attacking Disney because they feel like they don't have any. And so they've attacked them for Star Wars now, and they're attacking them for, like, Frozen 2. They want Elsa to be... And honestly, it doesn't matter.
But wait. Oh, yeah, because Anna's married. Elsa was the Ice Queen.
Yeah.
If you could make from a story...
It doesn't... Well, I mean, theoretically, I see no reason to even have it in, like, any of these, like, deep relationship things in a kid's movie.
Yeah, I mean, sexual orientation should not be in any children's movie.
I would argue that strongly because a lot of kids are starting to figure out who they are a lot younger.
I'm saying
like they shouldn't have any of the relationship.
Well, I'm not saying they're going to be fucking diking it out. I'm just saying.
I know that. I don't know.
And I use that phrase in jest, by the way.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where... Like we were saying, like we were saying earlier about the directors to the writers thing, it's like, oh, well, this company feels that because of fan pressure or online whatever, they must then insert and rewrite a movie to incorporate this person's sexual orientation. No, you shouldn't have to friggin' do that.
Well, it's not even that. It's just any kind of change, like, that fans or companies or publicity groups are trying to, like, say, oh, we want another one, or, trying to hit that notch on the belt. It's like, I understand you're trying to give people something to look at as far as someone you can relate to if you have, if that's your sexual orientation or if that's your,
Identity.
your belief or your ideal or anything regarding it. It doesn't even have to be, gender related, but the entire thing with it, though, in my eyes anyway, I don't think that they should have any of this input coming in. If let the writers write what they're going to write, let them direct, be directed how they're going to be directed.
If it happens,
And
it happens, right?
yeah, if it happens, it happens, but don't try and force it, because if it's not there, it's not going to make any bit of sense in the entire plot of the film or the TV show or whatever. I mean, if it works, great, if they incorporate it from the get-go. But, like, for instance, myself, like, I wrote a TV pilot. Did I write one? No, because I know nothing about that entire dynamic, so that would make no sense for me to write about it.
But could you, though? Could that make a more interesting story if you did?
If I found a good enough reason to do it, maybe. But, like, honestly, if I ever pitched my show and it got pitched, and became a series, that's what they have other writers on the staff for, because somebody else might know how to write it better than I would.
Fair enough. That's a very, very good...
Because if you're not comfortable with delving into that territory, and that's not, like, something you feel you could give justice to, why write it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No matter how much research you do, because most writers, writers do, all kinds of research on various topics, so they're able to write an actual.
Well, and you can do research all day long. Yeah. I'm a straight white male. I have no idea what it's like to be on the other side of the fence there, and nor would I try and pretend that I do,
right?
Or say in either direction, or even try to write about it, because there's no way I could do it justice. So, to me, like, if I was going to try and write something, and I wasn't comfortable with it, I wouldn't write it. And if there was somebody else, because there's always more than one person writing anything for the most part, whether it's a film or a TV show or, a series, something. There's always going to be somebody that's better at writing about a certain particular subject or type of people that's going to be able to hit those notches that does it justice, rather than just throwing it in there for fan service.
And even if you can draw on personal experience, I mean, for example, I've had a gay experience when I was younger, when I was like 13 or something. Yeah, I experimented. Could I write about that? Yes. Could I write about a fully mature gay relationship? Probably not, because I don't understand the dynamics behind it. So that's where you're right, Steve. You'd have to ask others to help you craft this, because you're, like I said, it's not this one person creating, it's many people, and having more cooks in the kitchen can, in theory, make something great. But, you don't want to fuck it up either and have too many people, like these people forcing certain things into other things, which will completely screw it up. I thought of one contemporary example recently of a really good example of a gay portrayal. I'm not familiar super with the series, but I know a lot of people really, really, really like it. There was a Nickelodeon show called The Legend of Korra. And I think right at the very end of that, they had I think it was like a lesbian couple, I want to say, and people were like, "Oh, really? They're gay? Cool." And it worked out really well. I know a lot of people like the show Steven Universe for its portrayal of transgendered or gender fluid. I'm not sure. I've never seen the show. Though the fandom is everywhere on my Facebook. And that seems to work out pretty well. And I think it's good. You do see shows aimed at a younger audience addressing it in a mature fashion without it being, ridiculous. But once again, if it serves the story, great. From what I understand of Steven Universe, it looks like it's the quest for identity and acceptance and just knowing who you are and loving who you are at the core. And I think that's a great value. Putting that against space wizards and Wookiees, I'm not so sure. But if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's still stupid, no matter which way you paint it.
Since we're talking about this, and since you brought up Wookiees, all I can think of, Steve and I recently watched 2 of the Lego Star Wars shorts, little short films, Padawan Menace and Empire Strikes Out. In Empire Strikes Out, C-3PO gets left in the hangar because he was in the bathroom. All I can think about is the whole story about the transgender, like who should go, the whole Target thing, who should be able to go into which bathroom. They C-3PO thinks he's alone. You hear another toilet flush down the line. You have a bathroom door with a giant question mark on it, and Chewbacca comes out. And this little Star Wars thing was done like 4 years ago. It's just hilarious.
Like I don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing anybody that has any particular, gender selection. I'm not. I just was bringing up the fact that people are trying to put something in where it doesn't necessarily belong until there's a reason to put it there.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're just adding in politics into something for the sake of it being there rather than serving as a narrative vessel. Mm-hmm. In which case, I completely agree with you in that regard. Like I said, if there's a reason for Luke Skywalker to be gay, that's cool. If there's a reason for there to be 4 lesbian Ghostbusters, that's cool. If there's a transgendered Wookiee space wizard, and there she is. See, that's totally fine. But if you're just doing it to check a box off on a list, that's not cool.
Screw you, essentially.
Well, I'm not going to say screw you because
if you're going to give me a character that has these issues and issues isn't necessarily the right word. If a person has these traits, if they're any of these things that we've talked about before, and you want me to identify them, let them be a character, not an agenda. I think that's the best way we could possibly put it.
Yeah, let them grow naturally. Let them, you discover that as you get to know the character rather than getting to know that and then knowing the character or not knowing the character at all.
Exactly. Like, I don't need them to walk out in a t-shirt and says, hey, I'm gay. No, I mean, if they just hold another character's hand, okay, cool. And don't draw attention to it either. If it just happens to be there, it's 2016, man. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no...
Besides, part of the fun of ambiguity is getting to decipher it for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I like it when they have, like, things evolve, like, naturally, just seeing things unfold and letting the character grow up in your mind first.
So, speaking of Star Wars, before we get close to closing this shop off, they've cast young Han Solo.
Really?
Yes. It happened while we were recording this, yeah.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Post a thing in the chat. I gotta see this guy. Or I think you did already. Oh, that is definitely Power Rangers.
But, yeah. I don't know him from anything. Because I haven't seen anything that he's been in.
I'm hearing clicking, so I'm presuming I will see him in a moment.
Yeah. I can kind of see in his face how he could portray Han Solo. I can see some of the mannerisms in him.
What?
Although I thought the guy that played the young version of Harrison Ford in
I can see that.
In another movie would have played him just as easily.
I've seen this guy before.
Yeah.
I actually saw this movie a couple years ago. It was called Beautiful Creatures. It's a really weird Twilight-esque movie where it's Twilight but with witches would be the best way to describe it. It's kind of stupid, but I kind of liked it in a weird kind of way.
You've seen this guy before, Steve.
Yeah.
And what?
He was Ben Collins in Supernatural, 2005.
Yeah, well, he's a bit part. That doesn't mean he lasted long. And the funny thing is most of the cast for Beautiful Creatures is from that show Switched at Birth, and then they've got people from Twilight sprinkled in there.
My guess is they all just happen to be hanging in the same town. Like, hey guys, do you want to make some money for the summer? You know what? I can see that. Although I'm really curious to know what story they're gonna do for like Han Solo. Personally, there's this awesome.
I want to see the parsecs.
I want to see him being a swoop bike racer in the Outer Rim, or him and Lando breaking out of Star's End prison.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Han Solo in the corporate sector, but that's a dream.
Han Solo on the Kessel Run,
dude. Okay, plot idea. So basically, Han Solo. Let's break it down. he was a drug smuggler. You could imagine him doing like a drug movie, except on the spice mines of Kessel, outrunning like Jabba's goons or something. That could be friggin' awesome.
I can see that.
Oh, just saying, the Kessel Run. Excited.
So, before we close this off, we are rounding out our top 50 countdown of the GCRN. It is for the top 50 video game franchises. The results for that will be revealed on 2 podcast episodes shortly in the next week or two. We've had more lists than I thought we were going to get, but not as many as I would like.
We got somewhere around 25.
Somewhere around that, but the fun part is there's going to be it's going to be very much on the fence, because a lot of the lists have some that are very close in as far as their rankings and what game franchises were towards the top 10, and then as far as which ones showed up in general, there's quite a bit of variety in franchises.
That's good.
So it's going to be interesting to see which ones actually rank highest and lowest and whatnot. So, so yeah, that's going to be fun to do, because this experiment, we'll see how well it played out. Being that it was some of our various podcasters, as well as many fans and many friends of the shows that.
Yeah, this is a very different top list for us. Our top 100s in the past is pretty much where we'd reach out to anywhere between 20 and 80 different people or organizations, whether it be This Week in Geek, whether it be, whoever, and they all send us a list. This one you wanted it to be the listener, our fans. We wanted to have it fan generated, so that's why, you go to the website, geekcastradio.com, you click on the banner on the top, you fill out your franchises, and you just submit the list. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens where, or what ends up being where.
Agreed. So, what would you guys like to pimp out before we go?
Well, before we go, we should probably take a break so I can get over to the La La Land Lounge to get my soundtrack reviews for Green Lantern and Thundercats done.
Or that.
Yeah.
We'll be back after this.
Fart noise.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @AlteredGeek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show.
These guys at the GCRN would make great Green Lantern Corps members. Seriously. Who are these guys?
Thank you so much, Mr. Josh Keaton, as the voice of Hal Jordan in Green Lantern, the animated series. My name is TF2 and Mike. Welcome to the La La Land Lounge here on Altered Geek. And as I said last week in episode 136 of Altered Geek, the La La Land Lounge is going to be my way of bringing you guys soundtrack reviews from the soundtrack label La La Land Records, where soundtracks live. Now, originally, I was going to do Batman Mystery of the Batwoman this week as my first review here inside the La La Land Lounge on Altered Geek. But looking back through my soundtrack reviews on geekcastradio.com, I noticed that Altered Geek would be going up on May the 6th. So I looked at the soundtrack reviews that I've done over the last 3 years for La La Land Records, and I realized, hey, I reviewed Green Lantern, the animated series, Volume 1, and Thundercats 2011 score from La La Land Records 3 years ago, as of yesterday, May 5th. So I figured, hey, why not do an anniversary recording? I will be doing Mystery of the Batwoman for next week. I've already got that recorded. So, folks, La La Land Records, back in 2013, released Green Lantern, the Animated Series, Volume 1. This is a single-disc release. It is 36 tracks, and even now, going back and listening to it, I gotta say, I really dig this music. It is awesome, epic. I went back and I watched a few episodes of the GLTAS series in preparation for recording this, and wow. I mean, the music is amazing in the show, and it's amazing to listen to it outside of the show. I just absolutely love it. I remember when I first got the CDs 3 years ago when I was listening to the GLTAS score, I couldn't stop listening to it. I had it on loop, nonstop. Just couldn't stop listening to it. Absolutely love it. I remember when I first got the GLTAS score from La La Land Records, it was a composer by the name of Frederick Wiedemann, and I never heard of the guy. So I did some research and didn't really help at the time, but since then, since 2013, this guy has been on fire with the DC stuff. He did GLTAS Volume 2, of course, because he was the composer on that series. He did Justice League Flashpoint Paradox, Justice League Throne of Atlantis. He's done a lot of stuff for La La Land Records and the DC animated stuff. But when I first heard him, I'm like, who is this guy? Immediately, right off the bat, as soon as I started listening to this again, what grabs me is the main title of this, which is the Green Lantern theme. And he put together an amazing theme, folks. The main theme is 36 seconds. It is so very, very cool. Other tracks that I like from Volume 1 of the release here, Razor Saves Kilowog, Rescue Mission, St. Walker's Destiny, Red Empire, I Am Mogo. I Am Mogo, because in this series, it's Kevin Michael Richardson voicing Mogo, and it's just so awesome. The theme behind it is just great. Aya's Mission. What's cool about the Green Lantern, the animated series score here, the Volume 1, is how much Frederick Wiedemann put into the music. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure the guy worked his butt off for it, but just how much of actual musicianship, if that's even a word, is in each track. I mean, a lot of these tracks, like the main theme, Green Lantern main theme, that's 36 seconds. It always surprises me when certain composers, doesn't matter who they are, get in so much in just that amount of time. Just absolutely love it. If you were a fan of the Green Lantern animated series on Cartoon Network, you owe it to yourself to check out this score from La La Land Records. It is currently out of print on their website. But if you got it when it initially released, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Listening to this music again and watching a couple of the episodes to prep for this, like I said, really makes me want to go through and watch all 26 episodes again now. Can't recommend it enough. Absolutely love all of the musical instruments that are used, the different inflections. In a lot of these tracks, there are backing vocals, like, I don't want to be inaccurate here, but the closest thing I can think of is something like a Choir of Angels kind of thing. That's really the only thing I can compare it to. But some of the backing vocals on it are just simply amazing in some of the tracks. You owe it to yourself to check this one out, folks. You really, really do.
Sword of Omens, give me sight beyond sight.
Alright folks, so I just gave you the rundown on Green Lantern, the animated series, Volume 1 from La La Land Records. I'm back once again to talk about the Thundercats. In 2011, Cartoon Network launched a one-season, 26-long episode series, Thundercats, a reimagining of the original 1980s property. And in 2012, Kevin Kleisch, or Klesch, or Kleisch, I don't know how to say Kevin Kleisch's name. I assume it's Kleisch. I could be wrong. I'm sorry. 2012, La La Land Records released Thundercats, the score to the television series. There are 26 tracks from all of the 26 episodes. And I remember when I originally wrote the review, and back then my writing style, my early writing style for La La Land wasn't, going back and looking at some of those reviews, and oh boy, I've really improved over the last few years, but I didn't know what to think, because back then, Thundercats was still kind of running on Cartoon Network, and now, obviously, it's no longer, and I like the series. I like certain aspects of the series. I love that Larry Kenney is the voice of King Claudius, Lion-O's father. I thought that was great. But at the time when the music came out and when the series was running on Cartoon Network, I watched the show, but I didn't really watch the show. So I went ahead and I watched all 26 episodes in order to record this, and I've been listening to the music all day long, just like I've been listening to the Green Lantern Volume 1 all day long. And I gotta say, Kevin Kleisch did an amazing job with this. The first track, Thundercats' main opening theme, it's only 14 seconds, but there are hints of the original Bernard Hoffer theme, and then it kind of breaks into its own thing. I really dug, the homage to the original Bernard Hoffer theme. I just wish it was a little bit longer. Like I said, it's only 14 seconds for the Thundercats main theme. Other than that, the other 24 tracks are music from each of the episodes. And I was surprised at how varied it is. It's, you have your anthemic big battle music and that kind of stuff, and then you have like soft music. Which one is it? It's when they introduce the characters, the Burbles, in this series, it's more like a fun-loving kind of not really, it's upbeat, but it's more of whimsical. There we go. It's more whimsical than the rest of the music. And then, we get into tracks like Native Son, Trials of Lion-O Part 1, and Birth of the Blades, Curse of Rotilla, Survival of the Fittest. Hey, that's a Transformers line, folks. It's actually a title of one of these episodes. But Kevin Kleisch, the music in this that he's composing and producing, all the instruments fall in line and feel right to the music, and even listening to it outside the series, I do dig it. I don't dig it as much as I dig the Green Lantern animated series music, but it's still cool. And I'm going to be finishing up watching the Thundercats 2011 cartoon series for an eventual Tooncast Beyond episode. But, I've watched like the first six or seven episodes at this point, and the show wasn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be. Are there things that could have been done better? Sure. But it wasn't god-awful. The music is what I come to expect from a action cartoon for this day and age. And I just absolutely thought it was a wonderful piece of work. Kevin Kleisch, I hadn't really heard of him before this. And I was looking on his website and all that, and he's really only done a few things. He did the music for the short Tangled Ever After. He's done a couple other things as well. But I'm hoping, as it goes along, the guy gets more work. Because, he did a really well done job here. There's parts of this that feel like it's the old cartoon series. And that's the coolest thing about the music, because we all know that the old Bernard Hoffer 1980s Thundercat, I love the Thunder Tank theme from that series. I really wish La La Land Records would release or somehow put out the original Thundercats music, because we really do need that. But this 25-track single disc release from La La Land Records by Kevin Kleisch is very well put together. The only problem, like the Green Lantern Volume 1, I just looked on La La Land Records website, and the Thundercats 2011 score is out of print as of this recording. But if you got it when it initially came out, and you're listening to it now as I'm talking to you, all of this just goes to show you that there are some 80s franchises that can be rebooted very well. And the music to this holds up still today after 3 or 4 years since Thundercats went off the air. Absolutely love it. So, folks, that's going to do it for the La La Land Lounge this time around in episode 137 of Altered Geek. I am TF2 and Mike. Join me next week when I tackle the mystery of the Batwoman. Make sure you head over to LaLaLandRecords.com where soundtracks live. Now, back to Steve Megatron and the rest of the episode.
And we're back. So, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Keeps you in mind.
I do have to make a little annotation. Both of the soundtracks that I talked about, the Green Lantern the Animated Series Volume 1 and Thundercats, they are not single disc, they are 2-disc editions. I thought they were single discs, but they're not. And sadly, as I said in the clip, they are both out of print on La La Land Records, but I'm sure somebody can find them on eBay or something. They're two really cool soundtracks. For me, I've got coming up, Michael Wilson and I are still working our asses off doing the Daily Phineas and Ferb pre-production. We have got up to episode 16 recorded. I have to edit episodes 10 through 16 at this point. It's really fun. We've been doing, well, Steve, you know this, we've been doing review podcasts for years now. This one's really different because Phineas and Ferb, it's pretty much a fun show all around. There really isn't, we do nitpick things, but it's not like, oh, Ultra Magnus is white. It's a white Optimus Prime. We don't nitpick that hard on it. So it's been a lot of fun, doing that show. So that's what's going on with me. And then later, coming up next week on the Pull Bag, we're going to have Adas Baron and I are going to do issues 5 and 6 of He-Man: The Eternity War.
Interesting.
Yep.
Don?
Yes. I was supposed to do a Star Wars video for May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th. Clearly, I didn't do that because, honestly, time just got away from me. So hopefully I'll do something over the weekend. Twig's topic show for Game of Thrones is probably going to be coming out this weekend with me, Ryan, and Roebuck. So we're 2 episodes into season 6, and Jon Snow's back! I'm excited. Though why, I guess we'll find out what happens. But yeah, looking forward to doing that. So should have some more Boss Roll coming up. Like I said, I'm trying to tie that into my Star Wars stuff. Probably recommending some source books to you guys if you want to check out different eras to play in or give you some ideas. We should be recording the season finale for Embers of the Jedi for Terrible Warriors, and then we're going to take a break from that and do Ravenloft, the Road of Sorrow, for I think the next little bits. And then finally from me, that's pretty much about it. I am reviewing Battleborn right now. I literally downloaded it while we were doing this podcast. I should be doing something on Doom as well, which releases on the 15th. So stay tuned for that. And as always, you can hear me over on VGS on the Chorus Radio Network, on Video Game Sophistry, which you can hear Sunday nights on AM 640 Edge 102.1, and across the Chorus Radio Network. So that's where you can find me.
What do you got going on, Steve?
Of course, I've got this going on. I'm currently done with my screenwriting class. I got full credit on the assignment.
Yay!
Which some of you may or may not have seen on my Facebook page. And then, of course, I am in the media entrepreneur class, which is going to be interesting. That's kind of pretty much all I've been doing besides playing Battlefield a lot, and then waiting for the new Battlefield 5 information because the one thing I am loving, though, with Battlefield 4 is the fact that every month until they exhaust the expansions, they're going to release an expansion for the console and the desktop versions for free if you own a base copy of Battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
And my Xbox, I happen to own a base copy of Premium Battlefield, and I have no expansions other than the 2 that came with it. And then there's 4 other expansions, so I just got 1 out of the 4 for free.
Cool.
So I'm quite pumped because I have new levels to play online with now.
Speaking of free stuff, before we get out of here, anyone that wants to upgrade to Windows 10, you better do it before July 29th.
Yeah, because they're going to let you do it for free anymore.
Nope.
I knew that was coming.
Yep.
They said that last year when they started giving it for free, though.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I've got a question for you before we get out of here. Do I owe you $20 yet?
No.
Tell you what, I'm going to sweeten the deal. I'll buy you 3 months of Xbox Live. You know what you have to do.
Zombies scare me.
So for those of you that may have...
he wants him to play the Walking Dead Telltale game.
Exactly. And I think he can do it, and I think he'll love the story in it. Especially because Steve has a kid now. 2 kids. 1 kid, 2 kids. How many kids you got?
He's got 2.
So yeah, I think this will tug at ye old heartstrings. And if you beat it and I see the achievements, 3 months of Xbox Live for you, my fine sir. I'm upping the deal. Pray I alter it further.
Wait. No. It's pray I don't alter it any further. Come on now.
I'm going to do it until Steve does it. Be like, fine. I'll be the ante until Blair yells at me. So, presumably, Steve will get this done before the summer.
Yeah, because I'll run out of Xbox Live on my my Battlefield, so I'll have to switch.
You're going to be like, God damn it, I have to spend hours. The feels. That's what I want, Steve. I want your tears. On that note, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Till next time, get Altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.